In the coming days, arguably the most important exclusive, at least in the last decade or so, for Microsoft is set to launch with Starfield, the space sci-fi RPG coming from Bethesda Game Studios. Obviously, this game was announced before Bethesda was even acquired by Microsoft, and there is a lot of pressure on Bethesda to deliver. Not necessarily just in regards to Microsoft's pipeline and whether or not this is going to be like their big success story that they can tout and get people to subscribe to Game Pass, but also just in regards to Bethesda Game Studios, because after Fallout 76 and even Fallout 4 to a degree, there have been a lot of question marks, a lot of, let's just say, doubts and concerns, a lot of them that I voice myself. Let's be honest though, Fallout 76 existed for one purpose, and that was to milk the Fallout franchise until Bethesda gets around to making a new game, which maybe that's in 2035 or so. But Fallout 76 was inundated with bugs, it was a messy launch, and it took years to get that game into a state which is pretty decent. Even now, I think there's a lot of mistakes that have been made with it. Bethesda also didn't deliver on a lot of the promises that they made, especially in regards to mod support, but people, I guess, just forgot about that. Now, with Starfield, this is a fresh start. We've heard in numerous interviews over the last couple of years Todd Howard tout the improvements that they've made to their game engine, the improvements that they've made to their animation system, and we've seen some of that within the gameplay and trailers that have been released. But Starfield is a different beast in many regards to Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. It's doing things that we've never seen from Bethesda Game Studios. Procedural generation on this scale with space exploration, seeing how all of that performs without bugs, that's something that a lot of people have been concerned by. But we also have the introduction of space combat, and Bethesda in the past with vehicle anything, it's not exactly worked all that great. So seeing all of this come together, that has been the big question mark. But Bethesda has done some things that have been questionable lately. Microsoft actually recently axed Game Pass's free trial ahead of Starfield's launch, which is kind of funny, but I mean, when people aren't going to be spending $70 on the game, Microsoft's got to try to ensure that they're making as much money as possible through those Game Pass subscriptions. So this isn't really that much of a surprise, but it still is kind of funny to me, at least a little. We did see this is something that's been talked to death the last couple of years. Todd Howard defending the decision for 30 FPS. He's talked about in other interviews. He prioritizes visual fidelity over performance. Again, don't need to dive into that can of worms, but we also did see this announcement, which was kind of odd back in June, Starfield announcing an AMD partnership. The big thing is that a lot of people have NVIDIA graphics cards, and DLSS is just far superior to AMD's FSR. So it's just something that was odd. The only thing that I can make sense of about this is maybe that this was a deal that was announced or made before Microsoft acquired Bethesda. That's the only suspicion I have about this. And based on some of the early data mining that we have seen, Starfield's PC release might not have DLSS according to the pre-reload files. But this isn't where this story ends, because Starfield is actually getting a DLSS 3 mod at launch despite AMD's partnership. And the reason why this is going to be happening day one is because Bethesda gave one of the lead modders that is going to be working on this a review code about a week and a half before the game launched. So clearly they're making up for it. Obviously it sucks that there's not going to be official support, but this is just one of those weird things. A lot of people didn't understand why Bethesda partnered with AMD, and AMD did say, for what it's worth, that they weren't preventing DLSS support, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be there. Just a weird situation overall. And I've talked about it before, Fallout 76, this still, say what you will about Bethesda Maryland and their involvement in Fallout 76, but this is a game that a lot of people talk about in regards to concerns with Starfield. And people still are bringing up, and we're actually seeing PC Gamer popping up their old articles about Fallout 4, good game, bad RPG. So yeah, there is a lot of negative energy in the air surrounding Starfield right now. Some of it is very odd. Like, we had somebody pointing out GameRant has run just numerous negative articles about Starfield the last couple of months, and as somebody who has been going after Bethesda for a lot of the BS shenanigans that they've pulled the last couple of years, even I'm like, Jesus, okay guys, we can calm it down a little bit. Starfield's loss is Avatar Frontiers of Pandora's Gain. Starfield's loss is a gain for Naughty Dog's rumored sci-fi game. Redfall's shaky launch has left Starfield fans concerned. That's kind of valid. That was something that was felt a couple of months ago before the gameplay showcase, but there have been other articles. Starfield has some of the worst post-adult fun dialogue I've ever seen. We talked about that when the ESRB ratings leaked, and I mean, life is a STD that's 100% fatal. I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time let's try without the jetpacks. Talk about seeing stars. Phew, that was amazing. It's cheesy dialogue. I don't think this ever at all mattered, and I don't... Who cares? That's my opinion on that. We did see this other article, Starfield's vision of the final frontier makes space seem like a boring, barren expanse. Yeah, and then another one, Starfield already has a negative review on Metacritic. This was one of those funny things that got by. I'm not sure how Metacritic allowed it, but somebody got an early review and giving the game a 0 out of 10, and they obviously say that Starfield Super Special 76 Edition. But ultimately what we are seeing with Starfield right now is that this has become, it's the fanboyism console wars, in which PlayStation fans are trying to destroy the game, Xbox fans are trying to uplift this game as it's the best thing since bread. It's a little ridiculous, all of the, let's just say, outrage that we're seeing online, especially on Twitter right now. But we actually did see that somebody is planning a review bombing and a boycott campaign ahead of the game's launch. Somebody sharing that they started at count 1 out of 1,000 to destroy Starfield's review score on Metacritic. Reason, I don't get what's benefit from that at all. It just seems ridiculous in my opinion. We then saw another Game Rant article, Starfield Shattered Space may already be in a rough spot. This is DLC for the game. The game hasn't even released and we're already having articles like this. Then we saw the live action trailer for Starfield popped up, and they said it probably inspires more emotion than the entire game will. Say what you will, but Bethesda has quite a negative opinion of them within gaming press, which is kind of wild in my opinion. Then we have seen this conversation, which again goes back to the console war nonsense. Starfield fans are melting down over invisible walls and the possible limits of exploration. Again, I can't share any footage that has been shown. I think there's leaked images in this article, but pretty much somebody who I guess got early access to Starfield walked one of the planets for about 10 minutes, and they realized that eventually there are borders that you can't walk the entire planet like it's No Man's Sky or Minecraft pretty much, which I think that was kind of what a lot of, I mean, the fact that Bethesda is even getting any of this working with their engine is just shocking to me. We've seen how that engine worked in past Fallout and Elder Scrolls games, and the fact that it's still here in 2023 and it's doing things like space combat feels like an accomplishment in my mind. But I just was never expecting that you're going to be able to walk the entire planet all at once. Like, of course, there's going to be loading screens and some other stuff that you're going to have to go through, some menus and such. And I guess some people are very surprised by this revelation. We had somebody sharing one of the videos, which has now been copyright striked. This has like 8,000 likes. I really think Bethesda should have made it clear before launch that you can't do one interrupted run around a planet. It's actually really weird that they've never mentioned this until it got leaked, and I'm one of the people that's excited for Starfield. And again, I think it's the problem. A lot of people just made assumptions about it because people are sharing videos from what Todd Howard and Pete Hines have said about Starfield, and none of them say explicitly that you can go through the entire planet all at once. There is going to be loading screens. Like, of course, you can explore the whole planet, but there is going to be some borders and stuff that you have to deal with. As you can see, somebody brings up this, they're calling Todd Howard a liar, and this is the video that they're talking about, which I believe is from last year, in which we got that Starfield presentation.
You can land into Atlantis, but you can also land and explore anywhere on the planet.
Yes, and that's exactly what you can do. You just can't do it all at once. Like, you can't go from this part of the map to that part of the map all at once. Like, there's going to be a loading screen or somewhere else you have to land. So I don't think... That's why I feel like people are being very nitpicky with this game, but I mean, that's the anticipation and the hype surrounding this game, in which a lot of people are trying to take it down and others are trying to uplift it to the moon. Now, we have seen Bethesda's reaction to some of these leaks. Bethesda is not happy about Starfield leaks from review copies. We saw one of the PR managers saying, "Everyone knows I don't like leaks. Media covering someone's leak like even less. When the big outlets do it to get around embargoes they have on their own code, oh, I really don't like that. Should say even small, meaningless and incorrect ones." And then we actually did see one of the big leakers of Starfield get arrested. It feels like every couple of years we have a highly anticipated game, and it's always somebody who works in one of these warehouses stealing a bunch of copies, making it known online that they have copies, selling it, and then getting themselves arrested, because yes, it becomes very obvious and very easy to track these people down. But Yeah, this individual, I think they're probably having some deep regrets with leaking those Starfield copies and some of the early gameplay. We did see some other Bethesda developers talking about some of the leaks. We had Emil Pagliaro, I apologize, I probably said that wrong. He's the studio design director at Bethesda, saying, "What a great day for kayaking on the lake, doing some turtle spotting. Figured I'd check the Starfield. Oh boy, an insider peek at something that is a complete and utter fabrication, the hilariously incorrect analysis of a single leaked screenshot. Shaking my head. Just a reminder to everyone that leaks are leaks no matter what the slant. Embargoes are in place for a reason, and any conjecture based on so little information is just utter guesswork. On the plus side, fans are amped, and the game is almost here for everyone." Now, what is he referring to? It's actually this tweet coming from a former Blizzard developer who worked on World of Warcraft years ago. "The physiognomy of start screens. The start screen of a game can reveal a lot about how the rushed the team was and how much pride they took in their work. Starfield start screen either shows hasty shipping deadlines by a passionate team overworked or a team that didn't care. It's a start screen. You click start, you move on. I've never given a crap about how a start screen looks. Some of them are more artistic than others. Bethesda Skyrim literally just has the logo like this. It seems like ridiculous that we're nitpicking this specific detail." But he did continue doubling down on these takes. Start screens are often done at the very end of development. Teams are too busy making the core game. It's quite common for the start screen to completely change once the game is shipping or on patch 0. And we did see Bethesda's head of marketing, Pete Hines, slap back about this. Somebody mocked the above tweet, and then Pete Hines responded saying, "Or they designed what they wanted, and that's been our menu for years and was one of the first things we settled on. Having an opinion is one thing. Questioning out a developer's care because you would have done it differently is highly unprofessional coming from another developer." Yeah, just absolutely brutal there from Pete Hines. And again, we did see Grums. He doubled down on this with many more tweets about this, some of them deleted. The people screaming that you shouldn't care about start screens seem to care an awful lot about start screens. This may have single-handedly changed the future of start screens and bring back the art form. Every developer team will be thinking about them now. You're welcome. And I don't think this has really changed the minds of many, to be fair. And he did have this clap back to Pete Hines saying, "Oh no, not the head of Bethesda PR. However, will I recover? What did he say about Fallout 76 and Redfall?" And then we did have one other tweet. "Never judge a book by its cover is a huge myth. Authors know this. People buy on covers all the time." And yeah, somebody pointing out his past history in which one of his games, Firefall, had, yeah, exactly that. A very plain start screen. Some of the best games of all time have very simplistic designs. And who cares about start screens? That's really the best way to describe this whole situation, because some of them have more details, some of them don't. Some really awful games have great start screens. It's just never something that I've really looked at. But yeah, here you got Halo, Chrono Trigger, Portal 2, then somebody else shared a couple of more: Halo 3, Fallout New Vegas, Red Dead 2, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring also. Very simplistic in their design. We even saw Ubisoft asking the question, "What's your favorite start screen?" Somebody sharing Starfield. I will say this, Grums did start a conversation about Starfield. I don't think it changed any minds though. And again, people sharing more. Fallout 3 had it, Skyrim, Fallout 4, and now Starfield. They look very similar. They're very simplistic. And then even Naughty Dog with The Last of Us. So honestly, all of the conversation that's happening with Starfield right now, it just seems very ridiculous in many regards. But in the coming days, I think it's just about 2 until early access is officially out. The conversation surrounding this game will finally come to a close. People can play it, and who knows, maybe we'll be having more outrageous conversations in regards to the contents of Starfield. But right now, it feels like a lot of nitpicking at certain aspects of the game from people that haven't played Starfield yet. And I have played it myself. I cannot talk about my experience yet, but in about 2 days, I will have my review up. It is going to be spoiler-free, and yes, I have a lot of opinions about Starfield that I can't wait to share, but I just have to say that all of the controversy that we're seeing surrounding this game, a bit ridiculous and a bit over the top in my opinion. Anyway, what do you make of all of the discussion and outrage surrounding Starfield right now? Are you planning to get the game? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.